What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to the third episode of the Open Door podcast. In this episode, we will be talking about the military, and we have somebody who was in the military. I gotta point that way. Jonathon Kellers here. He was in the Army, and we have the O Show down below. Kind of like a co-host. You might see him a lot. Owen from the O Show. So, anyway.
Who hasn't been in the Army?
You haven't been in the Army. I haven't been in the Army either. A lot of people think, oh, were you a commander or something? And the funny story about that is I played a lot of Call of Duty. I used to be really good. Like, I was ranked 26 in the world on hardcore mode on Black Ops 3. Anyway, I ran a clan called the Numbers Clan, and I was the commander of that clan, and so hence Numbers Commander. NBRS Commander is my other channel, and so Commander Vlogs, right? So that's how I come up with
You're
that.
a veteran then.
I am a Call of Duty veteran. And I was Special Forces in that game.
Nice.
But anyway, we got someone that actually went through some real military experience. Jonathon Kellers here. So if you want to tell a little bit of story about what you experienced in the Army, right? The Army?
Yeah, U.S. Army. So, I joined really early. I was actually in infantry school when I was 17 years old. Infantry school is what we call OSUT, which is an acronym for One Station Unit Training. So in most MOSs in the military, you'll have your basic training, and then you'll have your AIT or Advanced Individual Training as a separate school. In the infantry, they like to group those things together to keep the same guys together throughout the entire thing. So when you graduate basic in infantry school, you do an about face. And they say, "Welcome to infantry school." You know what I mean? And you finish out your 15-week process. So, very, very difficult school for sure. Being 17, not so much physically, believe it or not, just because I had been in football before, and I'd been running 2-a-days, and I was in really good shape when I joined the Army. More mentally, I saw, being the youngest guy in my platoon, I saw a lot of guys that were, in their early 20s, that had kind of experienced freedom, I guess. I never really had freedom. I went right from my parents' house to the Army, so I never had that space in between.
You never got to breathe. You never got to live a little. You had to just go straight into another form of structure. So I saw a lot of those guys, struggle mentally through it, because it's difficult to have someone straight in your face, you know what I mean, telling you what you are, and trying to motivate you to be better than what you currently are. So I went through infantry school, graduated the first time. I was never recycled or anything like that. At the end of infantry school, they do what's called a turning blue ceremony, where you walk up what they call Honor Hill, and you drink the mysterious blue punch, and you turn blue, is what they call it. And you actually turn blue?
Well, it's at night, so I don't know. No, you don't turn blue. It's a ceremony. It's actually really cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sacred ceremony, but
I mean,
that's where they give you your infantry cross rifles. So every MOS wears a different insignia. If you're infantry, you have cross rifles. If you're like an MP, which is a military police officer, you have cross handguns. If you're artillery, you have cross cannons. So every single job has a different insignia, so that you can tell what they do.
That's cool.
And so that was a really proud moment for me, because again, it was a very difficult school. And after I graduated infantry school, I was slotted for airborne school, which is also in Fort Benning. And airborne school is a kind of a gentleman's course. It's a 3-week course where they teach you how to jump out of planes. And one of the neat things about airborne school is that they strip everybody of rank when they get there. So, I mean, here I am, this private, and I'm eating lunch next to colonels that are going through the same school that they literally stripped their ranks. So everybody, no matter who you were before you came to airborne school,
right,
everybody's a POS. You know what I mean? You start down at the bottom, and then you work your way back up. So airborne school is great. I'm not gonna lie. First time I jumped out of a plane, I was definitely scared.
Oh yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Though. Got to be the best rush.
You'd be crapping yourself, wouldn't you?
It's you know, and when it's in, you know, Georgia, which is one of the most humid areas in the United States, in the middle of October, which is a very humid month there, it's very rattling. I mean, obviously you guys have flown before, right? A commercial.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So in a commercial
I didn't jump into any of them.
Yeah. In a commercial flight, you got windows everywhere. In the military, you don't. So you basically go in a tin can, and you just pray.
My vitamins turned my tongue blue. So funny. But anyway, when you were talking about going blue, when you were talking about turning blue, I was thinking, man, you'd be good for, like, you know, a member on Avatar or something, a cast member.
Smurfs, right?
Yeah, Smurfs or something.
Smurf.
That's funny.
Yeah, so airborne school was definitely an eye-opener. I remember the first time I jumped out of an airplane. So they make you get what they call sticks, which is basically like the people you're going to jump with. And they're going through and they're putting on all this new equipment. We used to run what we call a T-10 Charlie, which was the main chute, and then we had our reserve chute up front. But they have leg straps and stuff that go in between your junk and whatnot. And we were all sitting there, and we all know we're about to jump out of our first plane, and you know, the Sergeant Airborne comes over and checks you, makes sure everything's good to go. Well, that wasn't good enough for Johnny. Oh no. So I started, you know, yanking on my leg straps, making sure they were tight enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stupidest thing I could have ever done. Anybody that's going to go into airborne school, just trust the Sergeant Airborne that's, you know, making sure your equipment's good. Because when I came out of that bird, you guys, my right testicle got sucked up on my right leg strap, and I literally screamed like a little girl until I hit the ground. I'm not making that up at all. Yeah. And to make matters worse, when my chute deployed, I was one of the last ones to leave the bird. When my chute deployed, I ended up in the jet stream of the C-130. So everybody else is falling. And there's Johnny going
this way, perpendicular
across, you know what I mean? Screaming because of my poor, you know, downstairs.
Yeah.
And so anyways, long story short, just trust the people that put the equipment on it first. Right. I came down, landed like a freaking sack of potatoes, was dragged across the landing zone because I didn't unclip. I mean, it was just horrible. And then the second time, because you have to jump 5 times to get your wings. The second time I jumped, I came down like a feather, and that scared me more than anything, because I was just like, "There's no rhyme or reason. Like, either it's really, really bad, or it's really, really good. Like, there's no in between."
Right.
But anyways, I eventually went on to jump about 44 times and never had any problems.
Damn.
So
that's what's up. You know, I had some experience with like a confined space entry down into like what do you call that? Storm drain thing. I'm trying to think of what it's called. I've drawn a blank right now, but it's like a big ass thing, and it goes down like 20 feet. And so I was hanging with the same type of straps that you're talking about, and it would, like, you know, pull up on your junk, and it wasn't a great feeling for sure. And it kind of felt like you were getting a wedgie at the same time, and yeah, not an awesome feeling at all.
Yeah, my wife still thinks that's why I can't have boys.
Is that how you have girls? You just fuck up your junk and you have girls?
I do. I have 3 girls. So I'm blaming the Army for that one. No, I don't know why, but airborne school was fun, dude. It was a kick in the pants, for real.
Yeah.
And after I graduated airborne school, they give you your wings. They do what they call, at least they did back in the day before they started becoming the, you know, more girly military. No offense to the women out there, but back in the day, they used to actually do what they called blood wings, which is when they give you your airborne wings, they take the tacks off the back and then they just put it in your skin.
Oh,
you know
wow.
what I mean? bleed.
Yeah.
And so we do stupid stuff like that. And then after that, I went to the 75th Ranger Regiment and went through what they call RIP, Ranger and Doctoral Program, which is a very intense training, and ended up actually getting my Ranger and Doctoral Program. It's called RASP now, which is a completely different acronym. But I actually ended up getting my car stolen at the 75th Ranger Regiment.
Oh shit!
Which was very odd because this is right after 9/11. So I don't know if you guys had anybody that served in the military during that time, but when 9/11 happened, all the bases went on complete lockdown. We didn't know if there were going to be planes that were coming in that were going to target bases. So everybody was on high alert, and nobody could come on to the base unless they were, legitimate military or a contractor. But one of the guys that I went through Ranger and Doctoral Program with ended up stealing my car in the parking lot of the 75th Ranger Regiment.
What the hell?
Fair income.
Was he just trying to fuck with you, or what was the deal?
No, and so that's what I thought at first. So, literally like an idiot for about an hour and a half with all my friends around, I'm thinking, oh, they just parked my car somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So I'm making fake phone calls to the police, just seeing if one of my buddies would crack. Well, me being an idiot, that went on for much longer than it should have, and I finally realized, they aren't messing with me. My car's been stolen.
Damn.
So I ended up calling the MPs, and thank God I had a headlight out because I had a cherry red Camaro. You know what I mean? It's not hard to spot. And they ended up finding the guy. He had two girls in the car with him. He pulled down all my pictures of my little brother, and they ended up taking him out at gunpoint at airborne school. And then they to take him and put him in front of all 200 of us Ranger babies and basically berated him and sent him to Leavenworth Prison. So that's an interesting story.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm probably one of the only people that went through that school that had their car stolen.
Yeah. But he went to prison for that. So you go to prison for stealing a car, or is it because it's on a base? It's more
So when you're in the military, you get a two-edged sword. So because he was picked up on base, the civilian police were not involved. Now, let's say he would have gotten picked up outside of base. He not only, you know how they say there's no double jeopardy? There is in the military, because you'll be tried by the civilians, and then you'll be tried by UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So for him, he was actually lucky that he never made it off base, because if he would have made it off base, then he would have had to go to jail as in the civilian world. Then once he got out, he would have been tried in the military. So
that would have really sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, long story short, I end up at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, third of the 325 Airborne Infantry Regiment.
Heard of that place.
Yeah. Fort Bragg is it's an interesting fort, because you have the John F. Kennedy Special Forces Center there. That's where all the Green Berets are.
Okay.
I remember doing some extraction with Black Hawks and whatnot, and we would fly over the Delta compound. I mean, this is back in 2002. I mean, Delta Force wasn't even confirmed back then, and we just some of the neat things that I was able to see and do. But I ended up they ended up finding something wrong with my lungs, and they explained it to me that I guess when I was going through infantry school, when you get sick and you're in the infantry, you don't say anything about it. They tell you to drink water and drive on, right? Like, what if you were at war right now? Would you cry and go to the nurses and you know what I mean? Like, you just got to keep going. So I was sick a few times in infantry school, but just like everybody else, you know what I mean? You just kind of drive on. Maybe you get some Motrin from the medic, but other than that, you just kind of drive on. So the way they explained it to me is that something happened to my lungs with the CS gas when you're going through the gas chamber. And so, it took a while to develop, but it made me go from a 12-minute, 40-second 2-mile to an over 15-minute 2-mile just in a matter of a few weeks. And so they were really concerned about it. Ended up doing some pulmonary functions tests on my lungs. Yeah. And then ultimately they ended up placing me on TDRL and giving me a 30% retirement out of the Army. So
Okay.
I never got deployed. I never went to war. I was right there. I was slotted to leave. And by God's grace, I was saved from all of that. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, for years I was depressed because, you know, a lot of my, you know, brothers and sisters that were over there died, you know, and went through complete hell. But now I'm just thankful because I have my daughters and my wife, and, you know, I would not have those things if it wouldn't have happened that way. So
we might not even see you here today if you would have went. You never know what had happened. You might have made it through, but you'd be a different person, and maybe we never have met you.
Flip of the coin for sure, you know, and a lot of the people that I did serve with, you know, when we were going through training versus how they were after they came back off of deployment, you know, sometimes it's just heartbreaking that you can see the pain in someone, you know what I mean, even when they're trying to hide it. So I got nothing but love and respect for all of my military brethren and women that have served. And like I was telling Commander before, you know, I feel like I kind of hit the lottery on that one because I got all the best training in the world and I never had to kill anybody, which I thank God for, you know what I mean? For the longest time, you know, you train for over a year and a half to do your job proficiently. You want to actually do your job, you know what I mean? And so, you know, for a long time after I got out of the service, I wasn't the normal Johnny. I had this, I don't know, maybe a chip on my shoulder. I don't even know, just kind of anger and confusion on why I was never able to pull the trigger. And I know that sounds bad, you know what I mean? But when they drill it in you for a long time and then you're never
if that's what you're trying to do.
Correct. And, you know, it took years and the love of my wife to, you know, to calm me down and to,
and 3 daughters.
3 daughters
makes you softer.
Makes me softer. It's funny, man. I wouldn't trade them for anything. It's so funny. Sometimes I look at my life and I'm just like, wow, you know, the way life throws you, you know, in different things. But no, I enjoyed it.
I never cried until I had a daughter.
Yeah.
I cry all the goddamn time.
Yeah. I've got there too, man.
I was crying before we started this damn thing.
You know, one of my favorite commercials is there's a Marine and he's dressed up in his full Class A's, you know, whether the blue pants with the red stripe and everything. Yeah. And he walked into his daughter's room and his daughter painted her room pink or whatever, and she has paint all over her face, and he stops and he pans to the camera and he goes, "What? She's a princess! You got a problem with that?" There's my life, you know what I mean?
That's funny.
You know, I just do what I'm told.
Right.
So.
Oh shit. Yeah, it's funny like how everybody else wasn't able to make it. But that's all right.
Yeah, I wish you had had somebody on here that's like a real war hero, like, you know, like Wayne or even some of my buddies that, you know, I could have talked to them about it. But a lot of those stories too are, you know, people just don't want to talk about some of the things that they see, and you know, like I said, thank God I never saw a lot of the things that these people have seen. But
you can't unsay it, can you?
Yeah, and you know, and that's what makes me a little bit different too, is that I'm able to talk. Like those people respect me enough to talk to me, even though I wasn't deployed. They know that I've been through the shit. You know what I mean? But I'm like a hybrid. It's weird, you know. I'm able to kind of connect with the civilians in the way that they feel because I never went to war. But then I'm also able to connect with military veterans because I went through some of the hardest training the world has. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It puts me in a unique position.
But you still have kind of a little bit of maybe trauma from your buddies maybe dying over there, so you connect with them on that sense too.
For sure. Yeah, but you know, I will say this: these young men and women that serve, they're heroes. You know, when they sign the dotted line, they are literally putting their life in the hands of the government. And you know, for America, we have, you know, not boasting, but we have the largest, most powerful military in the world, and it's all voluntary. There's not one person that's in the military that was forced to be in the military. They all volunteer. And I think that makes us stronger. You know what I mean? The draft, is kind of a sad deal, because then you're intermixing a bunch of people that shouldn't be there. And when you put those people into a combat situation, things can get really bad really quick.
You're going to get a lot of people who are scared and not want to fight, and like docile type of people, and
or more of an individualistic spirit, like, oh, I'm going to do my own thing, and that just doesn't happen at war.
Yeah, you don't want them standing next to you, do you?
No.
Bingo. Yeah. And so things can get really bad that way, but I'm very proud of my country that they are full voluntary military force. I think that is just a thing that our young men and women sacrifice, and they put it all on the line. My brother right now is an E7. He's a nuke specialist on the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is in the South Pacific right now. And I often joke with him, like, yeah, I jumped out of planes, but dude, I couldn't be on the ocean. Scares the crap out of me. That's why I joined the Army. Like, I like the land.
Right.
Like the ocean just freaks me out. And so he's out there on a boat bobbing around and serving our country right now, and he's deployed right now. So
how long's he been in it?
So he's been in now for 10 years. He just received his E7, which I can't remember. I think it's a chief something. I'm not good with the Navy. I could tell you all the Army ranks, but Navy I'm not quite sure. But what I do know about any branch of service is once you hit that E7 mark, it's a pretty big deal, because the only way that the military can really take that rank away from you is by going to Congress.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, it takes a lot to strip somebody of that rank. So he made it well past what I made it. I was an E4 when I got out. So he's way above and beyond, what I did in the military, as far as rank is concerned. But he's out there right now.
So when I was a kid, I remember being scared of being drafted. I thought that I was going to be drafted, didn't want to go to the military. I was maybe afraid of that when I was a kid. But
when did that finish, the drafting?
Vietnam.
Yeah. And I was just thinking it was going to be reinstated, and because of 9/11, maybe I thought that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was worried about it. But then I moved over to Hawaii on the Big Island. I was there for 8 years. But kind of early on when I was there, I tried to join the Air Force, and I failed their ASVAB by 2 points. And I'm young and dumb, and I was party animal, so I was just like, yeah, fuck it, they don't want me. And I could have literally just studied a little bit and probably passed that, and went. Sure. But I didn't. So
Yeah, funny thing about when I joined, so people are always like, oh, you just wanted to be in the Army, it's like, no, actually. So at the age of 11, I started in what's called Civil Air Patrol. I don't know if you're familiar with Civil Air Patrol at all, but it's the Air Force Auxiliary for kids. So my grandfather, who is my hero and raised me, actually went to Annapolis, the Naval Academy. He graduated in 1954. He was there with Ross Perot, believe it or not. I don't know if you know who that was. He ran for president.
Familiar, yeah.
Yeah.
Back in like 92, which he told me a story once, which I thought was really funny, that he didn't really like Ross Perot because Ross Perot had a photographic memory. So every weekend, my grandpa was stuck in the dorms, studying and just trying to scrape by. And there's Ross out partying because he can read a chapter once and remember it.
Oh, jeez. That'd be nice.
So he ended up switching over to the Air Force, and he retired a colonel, and he used to fly the C-124, so he was a pilot. So when I was young, he got me into Civil Air Patrol, which is really good for youth. If you know anybody that's around the ages of 12 to 15 years old, it's really good program. They teach you aerospace education. They'll take you up in a Cessna, teach you basic flight instruction. You get to wear a cool little uniform. You do your little parades and whatnot, and you learn how to march and all of that stuff. So I actually earned my Billy Mitchell Award in the Civil Air Patrol, which gave me an extra rank. It's kind of like your Eagle Scout. So it gave me an extra rank when I joined the Army.
Yeah.
So that was something that really influenced me. So the very first place I went, Commander, was the Air Force recruiter.
Oh, okay.
And I walk in there at 16 years old, and I don't know if I got just the douche of douches, but I walk in there, and the guy's like, I'm like, hey, I want to join the Air Force. I've been in the Civil Air Patrol for 5 years. I've got my Billy Mitchell Award. He's like, well, where's your resume? And I stopped and I was like, well, my resume. I'm like, you want me to like write down high school and Civil Air Patrol
I mowed this neighbor's lawn and
I'm 16, bro. I don't have a resume, so he basically just treated me like crap, dude. I don't knock the Air Force. I think the Air Force is great, but I just the recruiter that was there was just a complete idiot. So I walked straight out. So where I was at, they had all the offices right next to each other. So you had Air Force, Marines, Army, Navy, right? Mm-hmm. So I walk out of the Air Force recruiter and I walk right into the Marine recruiter. And the Marine's like, hey, how you doing? You know, like, what are you here to do? You know, this and that. And I'm just like, well, my parents aren't going to be able to help me out with college. And I really want college money so that I can, you know, go to college after I'm done serving. And they're like, you don't join the Marines to go to college. You join the Marines to be a Marine, you know? And I'm just like, okay. And I walked out of the Marine office, walked right into the Army.
That's awesome.
And the Army guys were just all laid back and cool, man. They're like, yeah, we're the biggest branch. You know what I mean?
I think they technically are, aren't they? Yeah.
No, they are. Sure. They're bigger than, they're the biggest. The Army actually runs the theater of war. So that's why the top general of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is an Army officer.
Okay.
So the Army's no joke, man. They always downplay the Army, but we actually have we're the ones that have Delta Force. We're the ones that have the Green Berets.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so
they're just as badass as the SEALs, I'm sure.
They're silent professionals.
You're different than the SEALs.
Talk about it. Yeah.
Right.
But I went into the Army office and I'm like, hey man, I want some money for college. He's like, how much do you want? You know, sign here. And ended up doing that. Yeah, just a trip, man. And you know, at that point in my life, I had some really tough things going on at home, and the Army recruiters were really cool. And I remember right after I joined, I was 16. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but oh well. And my one of my recruiters took me back to the house and was like, hey man, you joined the Army, man, you can have a beer, right? So I'm having my first beer, and I look on top of this guy's television and there's an Iraqi helmet with a bullet hole in it.
Oh shit.
Right? From Desert Storm.
Crazy.
And so he had been in Desert Storm and he told me the whole story about how he shot this guy and
he's got his helmet. That's crazy.
He
That's
kept
kind of insane, right?
On top of his television. I'm like,
oh my god. Might as well have like collected some fingers or something from the guy, or I don't know. God damn.
It's you know, the humor can get pretty dark, but when you realize what they deal with on a daily basis, you understand why they have to joke about the things they go through. Or, you know, it's like the old saying, you know, I laugh because if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying, kind of a thing.
Right. Well, I laugh at funerals sometimes. That's kind of how I deal with them sometimes.
Yeah, everybody.
I make jokes, and then other people get offended by the jokes, and I'm like, my bad. This is how I deal with it.
Right. Right.
That's funny. But
so that's how I joined the Army. You know, I originally did want to be in the Air Force, but I was too lazy to go home and type up a resume. So I walked into the Army and got everything I wanted. So, which I thank God for, because I found out later, thank God, that the Army is the only branch that guarantees your job in contract. So if you join the Navy or the Marines or the Air Force, what they do is they'll have you take the ASVAB to see if you qualify. And then after you join, they make you take another test. And then that's what determines. So like they'll say, oh yeah, you want to be a mechanic. We'll say, you know, you're specific and, you know, you're like, well, no, I want to be a mechanic on Harriers in the Marines, or I want to be, you know, whatever. They'll say, oh yeah, you'll be a mechanic. And then you go and take their second test, and then you're working on freaking refrigerators or something, you know? Whereas the Army guarantees in contract, okay, Jonathan, you're going to go to infantry school this day. When you pass infantry school, you're going to go to airborne school this day. You're going to go to Ranger indoctrinal program this day. And the only thing that can derail you from that process is if you do not pass one of your schools. And if you don't pass one of your schools, then you go back to what they call is the needs of the Army. So whatever they need at that point, you can become a cook.
Yeah.
You don't pass your school, you know, so it gives you good incentive to pass your stuff. But yeah, that's one thing I did find out. And then later on, like I was saying, you know, I started working for the Department of Defense and for NBRS, which is a contracting firm, and became a recruiter. And that was really interesting because Just not the best thing to sell to parents. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, but it was all interesting, man. I thank God for my whole experience. I do.
Right. Hell yeah. No, I actually tried to get into the Navy too later on, like 10 years later after I tried to get in the Air Force. And I was 33 at the time, so, or no, maybe I was only like 32. Yeah, 32. And so I was trying to join, and the recruiter said that I needed to lose like 70 pounds. So he said, you can do that in a summer, no problem. I'm like, yeah, freaking right, I'm going to lose 70 pounds in a summer. And, dude, I got close. Like, I literally lost like 50 pounds that summer. So,
I've seen it happen, dude. In infantry school, that we had this one guy we called Pooh. And when like Winnie the Pooh, he was just like a big bear. Yeah. And he lost, I think it was 72 pounds in 16 weeks.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. Damn. It's amazing what they can do, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you another thing too. They give you the shot. So if anybody that's watching this that was infantry knows about the 30th AG, which is an in-processing center before they ship you out to your actual basic training. And in there they give you what we call anyways the peanut butter shot, which is basically a culmination of about a cocktail of 7 different vaccines that goes into your right ass cheek and then leaves a big lump there for about a week. You can't even sleep on your back because it's so bad.
That's crazy.
Peanut butter, right?
I never got sick for like 8 years straight. I never even got the cold. So hopefully one day they'll put that on the market for everybody. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you, man, whatever they gave me, I never got even the common.
I like never take vaccines, and I'm never sick either, though. So
yeah,
I don't know. And people try to tell me like take the vaccine, but then I hear all these conspiracy theories about vaccines, and I don't like fucking needles, so I'm just like,
right?
No, I'm good. Like at my store, the pharmacy people are like, "Hey, you want a free shot?" I'm like,
yeah. I've never done flu shots either. In the military, you really don't have a choice to get these things. You know, they put you in a big line. What's really funny is the biggest guys are the ones that are the most scared of needles. So they used to put wrestling mats on either side of the line, dude, and you'd have big dudes just in line go and just fall over because they just, they stress about getting the shot. And
The funny thing about me is I'm actually afraid of like blood. If I see blood, I start getting dizzy, like just seeing it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I think the reason for that, I know, right? The reason for that is when I was very little, probably like I don't know, 12 or 13, whatever I was. My mom had taken me to test for like the ADD, and they had me on like a 4-hour blood test, and they're drawing blood and poking me with needles for 4 hours, dude.
Wow.
And after that, dude, I just
no bueno.
I'm ruined for life now. So like, if I see a needle or if I see blood, I have a little bit of a problem with it, you know.
Right.
I don't know. I guess I'm getting better over time, but still, needles. I'm not getting better with that. Like I'll never want to touch a needle ever, unless I have to. You know?
I've been poked and prodded so much from the military. Now I just look away, get it done. You know what I mean? My thing is the dentist. That's the thing I hate the most. I hate the dentist.
The drill?
I need to go there.
I hate the drill. I just hate the whole. I hate the whole thought. It's like, and they'll make fun of me. They're like, you used to jump out of planes. Like, why are you afraid of? You know, it's like, dude, I don't know, but I don't know if something happened to me when I was a kid that I just mentally repressed.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own little phobia, don't they?
So I've actually got a lot of problems with my teeth. I've lost so many of them, like my backs, and
What, lost them or misplaced them?
No, totally lost. Basically, when I was a kid, I never really took good care of them, and I drank lots of soda. Like I would have a 12-pack of soda in my backpack. It wouldn't be books and shit, it'd be soda, and so I never really took care of them, and so I've been losing my teeth slowly but surely. And last time I was at the dentist was I think last year sometime, and they had said that the ones in the front are only going to make it like maybe another 2 or 3 years, so everything's just going to come out. There's nothing you can fix, it's going to come out, everything, and my only options are going to be dentures or implants. So that's why we need to make that freaking YouTube money. And I'm gonna, get my full set of implants before my first Lamborghini's. What I'm thinking.
There you go. Yeah, they've come a long way with those implants. My sister-in-law actually got all brand new teeth. And how long was she out for when she did that? Do you remember, babe? Just a few days, wasn't it? It was a pretty fast recovery.
What, like a full set?
Yeah, bottoms and front.
I bet it looked good. I bet it looked really good.
Wow.
Really, really.
You look like
good.
a celebrity, probably.
Yeah, and they sedate you for it. So, unlike going in and having the dentist being like, "Here's a drill," you're actually out. You know what I mean? And then you wake up and you go through all the pain. But she was good to go within a few days. So they've made some really neat strides with all of that, all the teeth stuff.
Even the dentures look really good, but I don't like the idea of having to take them out at the end of the night. Maybe you got to wash them all the time. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning and the dog's got them in its mouth.
Yeah, fucking dog. What if the dog eats them? What if the dog eats your $3,000 dentures?
Have you
what do
seen
you do
that
then?
YouTube video? That dog with the black's false teeth?
I've seen that. Like, did I have too much wine last night? Why is he smiling at me, right?
Oh, that's great.
So I've got a couple pictures here just so you guys can see them.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
So this one's right when I first got into the 82nd Airborne. I don't know if you can see my...
Oh, that's awesome.
So we were Maroon Berets, kind of like the Paras in England.
Yeah.
And then this is one when we were out on an FTX. As you can see, I used to be in shape.
Yeah. You definitely look a lot skinnier than you do now. I noticed in the picture, yeah. But me too. If you look at a picture of me, like, dude, I was skinny as fuck.
I think that's the way I was, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
When we're younger and fit and everything.
I'm still trying to get back to my 20s, bro. I kind of need to get in the workout game.
You did really good with your kickboxing thing that whole month, man. I was watching almost all your feeds there, and you were doing good, bro.
Yeah.
Very motivating.
I know I was doing good then, but I'm not doing good now. And,
it's a process, Commander.
I need to like get back to that game. Go motivate myself by watching my own videos. Yeah, that's funny. I got a rowing machine in the living room, and I was thinking about hitting up like a few hundred reps on that thing.
Is it just floating at that moment?
It's just sitting there, not being touched, collecting dust. Same with the weight bench.
It's to hang your clothes on,
Right?
it's got dual. Yeah, no, I actually when I met my wife, I had an 8-pack. I mean, I was working out probably 2 to 3 hours a day, and I blame her mother for finally feeding me right. You know what I mean?
All the good cooking.
Oh man. Yeah, I was never fed correctly. You know what I mean? So.
Except for peanut butter shots.
It's her fault. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm kidding.
Hey, so I got a guy. Okay, this guy was he was Navy. He still is, actually. I think he's been there for 10, 12 years. He's an intel officer, I believe. I'm just gonna say his first name. His first name is Ryan, and he sent me this audio clip because he couldn't be here today. He kind of wanted to, but he's in Japan. Time zone's different, and he said he'd be like in the middle of his shift or whatever. So he sent me this audio clip. It's like a funny story of him and his buddy in some kind of like a strip club or something like that. Anyway, I'm gonna play this. You guys are gonna crack up. It's pretty good. This
pretty normal for E1s and E2s to be at strip clubs.
Yeah, this is in Thailand. Now this guy I think is literally like an E6 or E7 or he's up there. I know he's officer. I don't know. Do you call him E anymore when they're officer?
No.
So I think he's an officer.
Oh, yeah. E is all enlisted.
I'm pretty sure he's officer, but he might still be an E. But
is that what the E stands for?
If he's an E, he's up there at the top. I do know that because I think like 3 or 4 years ago he was like E5 or 6 then. So I think he's officer now. I'm not sure. But anyway, let's play this. He's got a really, really good story for us of him and his buddies, I guess, in Thailand. Here you go.
So, I've never been the kind of person that really enjoys strip clubs. I don't go to them. I never really have any enjoyment.
You hear it, okay?
But as everybody in the Navy knows that
can adjust
to Thailand.
You could turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right, hold on. Dude, okay. I wish I had a speaker I could hook up to this thing.
I went like that. I moved my head forward to hear better. And I've got headphones. I've got headphones.
It's an iPhone 7. Obviously, the speaker's not that awesome. All right, here we go. Let's try this again.
So, I've never been the kind of person that really enjoys strip clubs. I don't go to them. Never really have any enjoyment. But everybody in the Navy knows that when you go to Thailand, you go to the shows. If you're not familiar with what the shows in Thailand are, just do a quick Google search and you can figure that out on your own, right? Well, last year, I don't know, October, November timeframe, my ship pulled into Thailand. And the one thing everybody does if they've never been to Thailand before is they all go to the shows. So the group of people I was with towards the end of the night decided, you know what, let's go. So we all went down to this real seedy, nasty, touristy area. Went in this just gross hole-in-the-wall basement joint. We walk in, take a seat at the front, and just kind of enjoy the festivities, right? It's a little bit off-putting, some of the entertainment's a little bit extreme, if you like, but, you get the picture. Well, at one point in time, one of the ladies that's working the joint, she gets up to our table and she grabs a couple balloons and tries to hand them to two of the guys at the table. The first guy was smart enough not to take it and the other guy wasn't. And then I got a balloon and she wouldn't let me refuse it. So before I know it, myself and this other guy that I work with are being drug up on stage. Right, we're surrounded by, probably 250, 300 people in this room on the middle of this the stage. When a lady takes the balloon, she places it between my legs, and then she puts the other guy behind me and places the balloon between his legs. And we're standing there, and the guy behind me's acting an idiot. And little Thai girl gets up in front of us, and not wearing anything from the waist down, and she gets up on the ground, she lies down, and takes a blow dart. She puts a blow dart inside of herself. She takes a needle, it's about 2.5 inch long needle. She shoves the needle into the blow dart and then carefully aims the blow dart. You can see kind of
skillfully
puffs up her stomach a little bit, and then she squeezes, and this 2.5 inch long metal dart flies out of this blow dart right through my balloon. It pops. I only heard one pop, and then I hear the guy behind me scream, "You shot me in the leg!" And I turn around and he's framing the blow dart stuck in his leg with his hands. And he's just staring at his leg. And this 2.5 inch dart has embedded itself in his leg. Nothing I can do about it. So I just kind of look at it. And he stands there in just absolute amazement as this little Thai girl gets up and just walks away. Completely unconcerned with the fact that she just shot him in the leg. Missed the balloon entirely, shot him square in the middle of the thigh, and just walks away. He proceeds to panic for a little bit, and he pulls a dart out of his leg, and then they just tell him to get off the stage and go sit down. And he just went and sat down and drank for the rest of the night. But I'd give probably the next 2-3 months, we just kept reminding him that he had AIDS, that he had some other venereal disease, and that he's probably going to die before the deployment was over. But yeah, Thailand. Fun place. Yeah, definitely had one of the guys that I work with, one of the guys that works for me, get shot square in the middle of the leg with a pussy dart. It's good times.
It's so good.
Wow.
I love that story. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, it's like, man, you gotta come up. If you got stories like that, we gotta hear more stories. We'll get him eventually. Maybe I'll do a separate podcast at a time that's convenient for him.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then I'll just, maybe invite you guys if you want to come join on that. But yeah, it'll be just kind of like whatever he's available.
So I've actually heard of that before. My father-in-law was in the Navy for years and during Vietnam. And his stories are about Thailand and the Philippines. So.
Oh, okay. Wait, they have stories like that in the Philippines too?
Pretty on point. Well, back then, Yeah, back then the Philippines. Back then in the Philippines, there were still Japanese people that were living there, trying to kill like servicemen. This is during Vietnam.
Yeah, crazy.
Like there were people left over from the war. You know what I mean? Or factions left over from the war. Maybe they were Filipinos that were with the Japanese. I'm not sure. I can't really remember. But yeah, he told me some pretty crazy stories of that, of those islands. So,
crazy. Yeah. There's a lot of islands in the Philippines. I think there's like 7,000 or something insane like that.
Wow.
I don't know exactly the number, but yeah, it's crazy. I could ask, computer, how many islands are in the Philippines?
Here's what I found on Wikipedia. The Philippine archipelago comprises about 7,641 islands, of which only about 2,000 are inhabited.
Only 2,000 are inhabited? So the other 5,000 is on islands? No one's on them? What the fuck?
Right.
Dude, I want to go claim an island.
It's probably unlivable.
It's unlivable? Me and Ellen are going to go claim an island.
There you go.
I'm going to tell her.
Oh, that's right. Podcast. Yeah, she's from the Philippines, huh?
Yeah, she's from Negros Occidental, somewhere in there. Negros Occidental. It's a big area.
Wow.
But, yeah.
A buddy of mine got married to a Filipino gal named Guada, and she's lived in Twin Falls now for 15 years. But when he got married, he actually went over to the Philippines and they did the traditional marriage and whatnot.
Yeah.
Her father was the chief of their tribe or whatever, their little government that they had. And so when he went over there, he automatically got put to work. Like, go get the water. You're gonna go do this. You know? He thought it was neat because he got to actually live the way that they live. You know what I mean? For a time, so kind of interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah, over there in the Philippines, they definitely live way different than we do. That's for sure. Like the way they take showers is crazy. Like they don't really have. A lot of them don't have like the shower head like we have. They have like a little faucet outside, and they have a bucket, and they just pour water over themselves with a bucket or something. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of crazy, you know, to have to take a shower like that. And I can't imagine the water's even warm. Maybe it is. I don't know.
I was gonna say at least it's tropical over there, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't matter the temperature of the water.
Yeah, that's true because it's warm out anyway.
It'd be refreshing.
Probably refresh it. Yeah, exactly. You know, when I was in Hawaii, I would love cold water, of course.
And lobsters.
Because it was so hot. And lobsters, yes.
I went to Maui, and I loved Maui, man. That's the only island that I got to go to when I was over there. But we stayed in Lahaina, and just gorgeous, man. Hawaii is beautiful. My wife's still mad that I've been to Hawaii, and she hasn't.
Yeah, I want to go there one day.
Yeah.
I've been Maui, Oahu a little bit, and Big Island for 8 years, so
nice.
I miss it. I want to go back, and I want to do a lot of vlogging of like the touristy spots. Like there's this place called Waipio Valley. It's kind of the north part of the island. It's actually not really touristy. It's more of a local spot, but tourists do go there.
Have you still got mates there?
But what's that?
Have you still got mates there?
Oh yeah, my mother lives there, and her husband. That's pretty much it. I mean, I have friends there, yeah. Lots of friends there, of course. Don't really speak to them very often. One of them was my roommate, and I was trying to get him on this podcast because he actually joined the National Guard over there, and he was flying freaking big-ass helicopters, attack helicopters.
Nice.
Which is amazing, and so I would love to hear those stories, but he's I don't know, maybe too busy. He doesn't even read my messages, so I'm like, I don't know. Are we still friends? You know, you wonder if you're still friends with somebody when they don't even read your messages anymore. They probably see it on the phone. Oh, it's that fucking Carl guy. Come on. You know, I don't know.
Like to hear his blow dart story.
Yeah, I want to hear some more blow dart stories.
I heard one about ping pong balls before. And, yeah, just
ping pong balls?
Amazing what people will do for money. We'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna guess it's put into the butthole and then the butthole or the vagina.
The other one.
Okay. So
I don't think it matters.
So they're not shitty ping pong balls. All right, I'm just wondering what kind of ping pong balls we're dealing with here. Can I play ping pong like that? Oh shit, that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
How do you catch?
It'd be fun to watch. How do you? Okay, what do you do? Okay, so yeah, you have to hit it back. Oh my god, how do you hit it back? I don't know.
My good buddy actually is over there, I believe, in Oahu still. He's who I went and visited when I went to Maui. And he's part of the HA over there, so he rides his motorcycles and does his thing over there. But he was trying to get me to go and move over there a few months ago because he has all these cars. I guess there's and you would know probably better than me because I was only there for a couple weeks. There's an influx of people that always want to move to Hawaii. And a lot of them will bring their vehicles or not bring a vehicle. So like the vehicle market over there is really big for buying and selling cars. Anyways, he wanted me to come over there and handle that for their business. And I couldn't see myself, taking my whole family over there and living there forever because I don't know. Did you ever feel like you were locked on that island? Like, when you live there, I've heard a lot of people say that they get after a couple of years or even a year of being there, it's like kind of gets a little depressing because there's really nowhere to go.
I felt pretty lonely. Yeah, I'll tell that story. But on the car thing, I actually shipped my car here. It cost me like $1,300.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got to the point where I was getting lonely and depressed. I missed family a lot. Most of this was probably a lot to do with how much I was drinking back then. Because, alcohol makes you, can make you depressed if you drink too much alcohol. I was drinking lots of rum and lots of moonshine and things like that almost every single night. Yeah, so I lived in like
an island.
Huh?
I don't feel trapped on my island. It's pretty big.
Yeah, well, so it's the big island.
The whole of Australia.
It's fairly big. I don't know, but I lived in like $1 million home. We had like the most beautiful view, and I had like 180-degree view of the ocean. There was no obstruction. You could see the ocean for miles, and I'd just stare at the ocean, and just when you're alone, staring at the ocean at night and drinking and thinking, a lot. You think a lot, and so I just thought about how lonely I was, how much I wanted to, meet a girl. Wasn't doing very good dating the local women there, and the touristy chicks, like, you might have some fun or whatever, and then they disappear, and then you never see them again, right? So, so yeah, it kind of sucked over there for that. So I was like, I'm gonna move home. I'm gonna meet somebody. That was probably my main motivation, and I wanted to see my family, my brothers, and my nieces and nephew.
So whereabouts are you both now?
Where am I now? I'm in Washington State.
I'm in Idaho.
State.
I'm in Idaho State. Yeah.
Yeah, you're really not that far from me. We ought to meet up sometime. That'd be pretty cool. You know what we should do? We should go meet up in like Coos Bay, Oregon, and tear it up on the sand dunes. Wouldn't that be fun?
Awesome, bro. I lived in Eugene right after I got out of the service, so I used to hang out Florence. If you're ever on the coast, Oregon coast, check out Florence, dude. Florence is awesome. It's off the hook. And then Coos Bay and Newport and Lincoln City and Astoria. Astoria is gorgeous. If you ever can go and check out Astoria, that's where they filmed Goonies.
Goonies, yeah.
Yeah, so they still have the house up there, and like you can go and check it out and everything. But yeah, the Oregon coast is gorgeous, bro.
One of my favorite places.
I'm just looking on the map now to see where you are. So you're near Seattle? Was that Washington near?
Well, I'm closer to Olympia. South of Seattle, but
okay. Oh yeah, I see Idaho there as well. Yeah.
But no, as far as Oregon, what I really like was Fort Stevens State Park. You ever been there? It's like an old military fort made out of concrete.
Oregon or Washington?
Oregon. Yeah, and it's like an old military fort made out of concrete, and it goes very far. It's big. And you go inside there, there's no lights, dude. It's so freaking creepy. Like, I think like it'd be a good place for like some ghost adventure people to go.
Dude, I went to Charleston, South Carolina, which is where the American Revolutionary War started and the Civil War. So a lot of history in Charleston. It's actually, they've got a church there where George Washington used to go and pray in there.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is when I was dating a girl a long time ago, and we went on a ghost tour in Charleston. And it's where they literally they have this little candle lit lantern.
Yeah.
And you're walking the streets in the spooky cobblestone, 1600s, like, and it was
cool.
Really cool. Yeah. It was really neat. But I was going to tell you, at Fort Sumter, you look up Fort Sumter because in Charleston, South Carolina, that's the fort where the Revolutionary War and the Civil War started. And when I went over there, that was the only, you have to take a ferry to get over to the island. Because the fort is literally its own island, and you get over there, but on the way there, it's the only time in my entire life where I ever saw a shark fin crest out of the water.
Oh shit!
I'm like on the ferry, and I'm just like looking over, and I'm like, I don't like this. But the doorways,
is that a little island?
It's a little island. Yeah, look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I've got it now.
And there's an island that's adjacent to it where they used to store all their powder. And so on this ghost tour, they told us a story about how at night when you look at the beach, you'll see what looks like finger marks from people trying to crawl back onto the sand from the ocean, because back in the day, their whole powder storage area exploded, and over 150. You'd have to look up the story. Over 150 people ran into the ocean to get away from the fire, and I guess the sharks, because of their skin being burnt and the blood and all of that, sharks just came in and started feeding on them, and then a bunch of them tried to scramble and get back onto the island, and just crazy. But the doorways at Fort Sumter, man, people were tiny back then. Like they're like little fight. I mean, I'm a giant. I'm 6'2.5". You know what I mean? So like, I'm going through doorways, like,
Yeah. I know I'm 6'2" too, and Ellen's actually 6'3", so I keep wondering. I wonder what she'll look next to me.
Oh my gosh,
she'll be like,
really?
She's 5'3".
Oh, I was like, holy crap!
When you said 6',
no,
you said 6'3".
No. She'd be taller than my ass. She'd be looking down at me a little bit.
Better get some heels, Commander.
No. She's 5'3". I'm 6'2", so that's about a foot difference almost.
Yeah. Well, my mom was 5'2.5", or I would have been a giant. So I have uncles that are nearly 7 feet tall. And the doctors told. So I guess when you're 3 years old, what they do is they take your height and then they just double it. That's a good rule of thumb to see how tall you're going to be when you're an adult.
Oh, really?
I was supposed to be 6'6", but I ended up 6'2.5". But yeah, I've got uncles that are 6'8", 6'10". They're giant.
You're probably 6'6" with that troll hat on.
That's funny.
Cowboy boots and my fur on the top of my head.
Yeah, that's not really his hair, guys. he put that on, and I was like, oh, you got hair now. Well, he had hair before. He just didn't have as much hair.
Right.
That's funny. Oh yeah, so
rug.
One of my experiences in Hawaii, actually, you were talking about Cessnas and stuff. I actually went to flight school, and I flew Cessnas. I never completed and got my private license, but I was very close. I did my own takeoffs, landings, stalls, power on-off stalls.
Nice.
Talking to the tower, that was freaking awesome. But the stalls, I think, were the most fun. At first, they scared the shit out of me.
Right.
Because basically, you do one of the two. You either cut the power to the plane.
It gets real quiet.
And then you, I can't remember if we were pulling back on the yoke and with no power, but you would just drop like that. And the same thing with the power on stall. You would just do this until... I think that one might have been the most intense because you're going faster. But yeah, it was freaking amazing. Like at first it scares the shit out of you, but then after a while you realize,
addicting.
It's easy to fix when you get into that stall. All you gotta do is once you're heading down, you just pull back and you correct.
Right.
And you're good. Whereas a helicopter, I don't think you're gonna be able to do that. I think you're screwed if you're in a helicopter. So
have you ever been in a helicopter before?
Yeah, I have.
I think I have.
Super weird feeling
been so
when
long.
a helicopter takes off. Your body is not used to just being able to go straight from the ground up into the air. I remember the first time I felt that, and I just was like, "Holy crap! This is." I've been in tons of planes. First helicopter really shocked me. The way it makes you feel. You know what I mean?
I think I have, but I'm not really sure, dude. There's a lot of childhood things that I only remember a little bits of. Like, I even remember, because my mom was a flight attendant. And so I've been all over the States because she'd fly me for free in first class.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool experiences.
Which outfit did she work for?
So she was originally Pan Am, and then she went Northwest Airlines after Pan Am closed down, I think. But I do remember...
My Uncle Bill wrote all the in-flight manuals for SkyWest.
Oh, okay.
So when SkyWest started, it was a mail service in Alaska, and then in the early '80s they started doing regional flights, and he was the second flight attendant to be hired by SkyWest.
Oh, damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he went all the way up the ladder. So small community. Just wondering where she was.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember something when I was, I think it was 2 or 3 years old, and I was in a very fancy penthouse in New York. So my mom was, I think at the time, dating a pilot. And I do remember a little bit of riding on the little train that's like lifted up, you know, on this elevated tracks or whatever above the city. And I remember, you know, on the tram or whatever, I remember that a little bit. But no, man, I'd like to revisit that place, New York, someday.
Never been. I've been to every state but the Northeast, bro. The furthest north I got was D.C. I had a 4-day pass in the military. I went to D.C. for the weekend, which was cool. I got to see the Smithsonian. I got to see, you know, the first capsule where we went to the moon, the Spirit of St. Louis.
That's cool.
All these different really neat things. I went to the Holocaust Museum, which was really depressing, but it's a good thing to see. Saw the White House, which is way smaller in person. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the White House before, but they make it look so grandiose, and you're there and you're like, huh, really?
That's it.
Like, all right.
Funny.
You know, so.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, no, I got a lot of plans to travel. What's up?
I just want to know what it's like to be in a plane with all the doors open.
No.
With the doors open.
What's that like? Is it?
Have you ever?
Very windy.
Have you ever been on the interstate with somebody that smokes cigarettes before, and they take their cigarette butt and they throw it out the side of the window and it goes like that?
Yeah.
That's your body at 200 miles an hour when you exit the aircraft. You're literally there's really no words to describe it other than just hang on and get her done, you know.
Right.
But the door, so it's already loud when you're jumping out of a plane, because, you know, this is not like a commercial airline. You know, this is just slapped together metal with some rivets. And I always joke with the Air Force people. But anyways, what happens is they have you stand up, they have you hook up so the way that our chute deploys is it actually is hooked onto a static line that you attach to a long metal rope, essentially, that hangs above right where you're at, and you take your hook and you put it on there, and then you lock it on there, and then they tell you to check everybody's equipment. So you go up and down the line, check equipment, sound off for equipment check, and then the jump master will open the door right when it's about a minute out, you know, because there's no reason to open the door for the whole flight, right? So about a minute out, that door swings open, and then everything inside the fuselage is just like pandemonium, just, and you're like right next to someone, and you're just like, you know, you're not able to hear. So we use hand signals. So they'll say 1 minute, you know, 30 seconds, and then you have a big light that's at the front, towards the front of the fuselage of the aircraft. That's a red and green light. When it's green, you go. And literally you shuffle 60 guys aside of the aircraft. So you got 2 sticks of 60 people, and or maybe it's 30. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But anyways, when they both exit the aircraft, I think in a matter of a minute and a half, you got all those guys barreling out, just one after another. There's no hesitation. A lot of people ask me that, you know, do people hesitate at the door? No, the way the Army, at least in the Army, the way that they train you is you're so confident in your equipment because they go over that a lot with you and get you comfortable with everything, that unless it's your first time, like I got to the point, again, 44 jumps when I was in, I got to the point to where when I was exiting the aircraft, like jumping out of the airplane, I could keep my eyes open and I could watch the plane fly away from me.
You ever do like a backflip out the door or something?
No, because you have a static line, so it's super important for your static line to pull your chute. So
it does it automatically, does it?
It does it automatically, yeah. And so you count to 4. You 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. And if your risers aren't above your head and you're looking at your canopy, then you immediately pull your reserve chute, because when we do a combat jump, obviously you don't want to be in the air long enough for somebody to get a bead on you.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So usually we would go from plane traveling at 200 miles an hour to ground in about 28 seconds.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And 4 of those seconds are free falling. And then the rest, you're praying to God that your chute's going to deploy. And
you're praying you don't get shot while you're in the air, too.
Yeah, again, I was never deployed, so but I had buddies that, when one of the first engagements we did after 9/11 was securing an airport in Afghanistan, and a lot of the guys that were at class ahead of me were thrown right in there for that. So I mean, I came real close, man, to being in the thick of it. But again, I thank God I never had to hurt anybody, and I never saw any of my buddies, at least firsthand, die or get blown up or anything like that.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of control with your chute when you're coming down? Do you have?
Well,
you just wherever you drop, you drop.
So you always see the people that skydive, right? Which skydiving is different because you're jumping at a high altitude and then you're free falling for a long time, right? When we jump, we're jumping at literally maybe 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
We're 1,000 feet over the ground, and it's just barreling out, getting them one, get them all down there. But no, the only way you can turn. We were running T10 Charlies. It could be different now, but the only way that you can turn is by grabbing one of your risers and pulling it to your chest like this, and then you'll turn at about this speed.
Jeez.
So when you're going from plane to ground in 28 seconds, you're not steering anything, man. And I can't tell you how many times I came down backwards. The worst ones were at night, because you can't see anything and you don't have your night vision on until you hit the ground, and then you get your night vision stuff out and your rifle and you're ready to go. So at night, you don't know what you're going to hit. In the Air Force, and no offense to the Air Force, but back when I was in, they weren't the greatest at hitting the landing zone every time. You know what I mean? So yeah, you can come down backwards, sideways. I saw, there was one guy that I did see. So they have something called stealing your air. So when you have one guy in a chute and he's falling and another guy's above him, that actually creates a pocket of air that won't allow this person to be able to actually float. So their chute will collapse. And they train you in airborne school to somehow get out of that.
Oh, yeah, because there's no air coming up.
Yeah. So, and I saw somebody fail from 200 feet. So he literally went from being in the air 200 feet to smack down, and it was at night, and back then, even today, you can't really assess back injuries, especially on the battlefield. And so for people that didn't see it, like the NCOs that were in charge, they're just like, hey man, come on, pick up your rucksack, let's go, we got to get out of here. And the guy, all the heart in the world, man, the guy picked up his rucksack, another 80 pounds, road marched for about a mile and a half before he passed out from the pain. Lo and behold, several broken vertebrae, 2 ruptured discs.
My God.
He was laid out for, I think, 3 months, and the doctors told him, like, if you jump again, you could be paralyzed.
Damn.
And in the 82nd, because we're special operations, we're attached to, like, the people that go behind the enemy lines and whatnot. The people were basically like, well, look, man, that could happen anytime you jump out of a plane. So if you want to retain your airborne status, get your butt up in the plane and go jump. And so he had to make the decision, jump again or be paralyzed for life.
Yeah.
He ended up ETSing out of the military.
I know what I would choose.
Yeah, which I'm sure I think we would have chosen walk. You know what I mean? And, possibly jump out of a plane one more time. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I want to do that. I want to jump out of an airplane someday. But if I'm gonna do it, I want to do it big. I want to get rich, and I want to be able to afford that space jump. I'm gonna do the fucking one.
Space jump.
Yeah, that's what I want to
do. You don't want to
it's
start
at least
small?
$1 million or more. I don't know how much money that costs to do the
that
space
would be
jump.
so sick. I would love to do that. I'm not afraid of heights, bro. I was so deathly afraid of heights, believe it or not, before I went through airborne school.
Yeah.
Deathly afraid of heights. And I tell you what, talk about facing your fears, man. It's true. When you face your fears, it frees you. It totally frees who you are as an individual, because I couldn't even look over a canyon before I jumped out of a plane, and it cured me of my fear.
Right. That's cool.
Good then.
Yeah, I have a little bit of fear of heights, but I'm still going to do that.
Yeah.
Even though I have a fear, I don't care. I'm going to do it. And I can imagine it'd be like the biggest freaking rush you could experience.
Dude.
In life.
And seeing that right there, so when you go through that type of training and the things that I've gone through, and then you hit the civilian world, like 5 years ago, I was running a jewelry store, selling big loose diamonds and really interesting stuff. I'm a nerd when it comes to like product knowledge and learning new things, so I love learning. But there was just a point in my day where I'm a manager at this store, and I'm looking around and I'm like, how did I get here? Like
a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, and it's addicting, dude. I mean, that adrenaline rush is the most addicting thing there is in the world. Yeah. Period.
I've got a mate that he did the skydiving thing. How you strap to someone else?
Yeah.
Tandem? Yeah.
Yeah. So they film you, and they have people filming with like cameras and stuff. Anyway, he jumped out, and they were filming him all the way coming down, all that. And then he landed. Then they had that camera bloke come running up to you to say, what was your experience and all that?
Yeah.
How was that? And he goes, yeah, no, it was all right.
It was all right, just like that. That's
He's
funny.
Done some things in his life. He's done some things in his life then.
That's funny.
That's all right.
You guys know that guy Logan Paul? He actually did the jump out of the plane naked. I forget what they call it. There's something. This is actually
he
a
want
thing.
To get one of his testicles caught in the.
I've seen that video. My wife showed me that, and the poor guy's tallywhacker's doing this the whole way down. We all laughed so hard, dude. That's so funny.
Good.
Playing a tune.
That's funny. I don't know. Maybe I want to try that. I don't know. Sounds interesting. I don't know. Do I want to try that? I don't know. I do want to go on top of the Burj Khalifa. They have a thing at the top where you can actually strap on and just kind of hang like this, dude.
Yeah.
On top of the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. Not a strap on. I mean, you're not doing anything freaky while you're up there, but that could be fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be different.
I'm all about the adrenaline, man. I'm gonna get my wife to jump out of a plane, but she's more willing to than my mother-in-law. I told her, I'm like, I'm gonna have to sedate you. You're just gonna wake up in the fuselage of the airplane strapped to me, okay?
No.
Like, no, you will not.
I was actually thinking
you'll appreciate it after it's done. After it's all said and done, you'll thank me.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about your wife for the last podcast. I thought about it after I already did it, and I was like, damn, we should have had her on. She could probably sing some songs for us.
Oh, dude, she loves to do that, man. It's with everything that's going on right now with COVID, and she is what we call an essential worker. So she's been killing it at the Winco stores.
Okay, I work retail too. So
yeah. So she's been killing it, man. But it's amazing how much work they put them through. Especially during this pandemic, but Winco is one of those nice companies that actually gives her bonuses.
What's Winco?
Winco is a employee-owned grocery store.
Okay.
So all the employees get vested into the actual money that they make. So after 4 years, you start getting a percentage of the profit.
Right.
Oh,
it can be big because the store that my wife works at last Easter, I think they did $7 million in sales just on that weekend.
That's
so
cool.
You figure after costs and everything, maybe they're netting a couple $1 million, but still that's spread over the employees.
Right. That's good.
They take care of their people.
Oh yeah.
That and the health care. We pay, I think it's not, what do we pay? $95 a month to cover our whole family because Winco picks up everything.
Oh yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you have to pay for healthcare, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, dude. When I was selling RVs, I was making probably $8-10 grand a month, but they wanted me to pay, I think it was $1,300 a month just for healthcare.
Yeah. You sold RVs?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Were you ever like that? There is an RV. you know which movie I'm thinking of? Christmas Vacation. Is it Christmas Vacation or Vegas Vacation on that one? But I remember the one on Christmas Vacation where he's like, "Merry Christmas." Shitter was full, and he's like dumping the shit out of his RV into the storm drain.
He's got his hat on.
Yeah, Randy Quaid.
His six-pack. Yeah.
That guy's so awesome. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
No, selling RVs was fun, bro. It's, you got to tell people, though, it's a house that's moving with 17,000 parts to it. So if you think that it's going to last forever.
Yeah, think again.
Yeah. But I mean, I was selling what they call diesel pushers, which are $400,000, $500,000 RVs.
Okay.
Which are pretty decent money. You sell one of those a month, you don't have to worry about anything. You know what I mean? So.
Right.
You've got your quota.
My mom does real estate. She's a real estate agent in Hawaii. She's actually got a broker's license too.
Nice.
So some of the places she'll get like 6%, which a normal real estate agent gets 3%.
Right.
But she's dealing with like big homes that are multi-million dollars. Yeah.
Right.
So pretty crazy. So if she get a sell on one of those, and if she was the listing agent too, then it's good money.
6% of $1 million is a lot of money.
I know, and so if it's a $5 or $10 million home, think about what you receive.
Yep. Big money.
Pretty crazy. It's like you're good for the year now.
What's funny is that here there's so much the housing market over, like, because I'm in Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene area, right? Yeah. Spokane area, which I know you're familiar with, Commander. They are having such a housing boom. Like everybody from all the coastal areas, they're all moving to the inland Northwest. No. And so now all the real estate agents are trying to undercut each other. Like, oh, I'll sell it for 1%. Or, you know what I mean? So there's that going on right now too.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's selling their houses.
Crazy, yeah. I remember doing some business on eBay. I don't know if you ever heard of that video game Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I basically had bot programs that ran that game and mined the game. I'd have 8 different copies of the game running at once on one computer.
Wow.
And so I would go to work and come home and have all this awesome items and shit I could sell on eBay. And so I became a pretty big seller. And I'd also buy wholesale and resell. So I became a big seller. I even had my own .com and everything. But I would undercut the other sellers, and they would send me fucking messages. They would be so pissed, like you got to stop doing this. And,
it's all profit when it's free.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I could just undercut them pretty good. Right. But if I had more than one computer, then I would have destroyed all of them. Like, can you imagine if I had like 10 computers doing this? Like, there's no way they could have competed with me.
It's like that Bitcoin mining they were doing there for a long time.
Yeah, I did a little bit of that. I did it with my previous video card, and then it started making noises. It's very demanding on a video card to be Bitcoin mining, so
yeah,
I don't do that anymore. And now I have a $600 video card, and I don't dare, because like that was expensive, man, and I don't want to ruin that. So
right,
and it's for what, like making 50 cents a day, like not worth it. So yeah,
take a while to pay off.
I really got into Bitcoin though, I had about a quarter of a Bitcoin at one time, and my dream was like, I'm gonna have a whole Bitcoin someday. And all these guys, they call them moon boys, said that Bitcoin's going to the moon, going to $1 million Bitcoin, And so I was thinking, if I have one Bitcoin and we get to 1 million, then I'm a freaking millionaire. So like my goal was to get that one, and I never got it. And maybe someday I will still, but...
Well, even a quarter Bitcoin now is like, what, 3-4 grand?
Yeah, I think it's like at 12 grand right now. I think. I don't remember where it's at now.
So $3,000. So $3,000 for just a quarter of a Bitcoin.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy.
So now, Mr. Australia over there, where are you at? Like in Australia?
Melbourne, Victoria. So right down the bottom. We just come out of lockdown 2 days ago.
Did you?
Yeah. So, which is good. We can actually move.
You're free?
Further than 5Ks. Well, I don't know what that is in miles, but.
Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of the Rebel News and like the different things, the protests and whatnot that are going on in Australia as well about the face masks and everything. And are they gonna open it up to where you guys aren't gonna have to wear your masks and stuff, or is that still?
Masks will stay for ages, I reckon.
You think so?
But yeah, but we can move around a bit more now. It's only Victoria where I am in Melbourne, which is like the second biggest city in Australia. But everywhere else is fine all over the rest of Australia.
The more rural areas.
Well, yeah, even Sydney and all that, they're not too bad. It's just Melbourne that's been shut down.
Oh.
Mainly, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. But we're slowly coming out of it. Because we were fine. We nailed it. We were down to bugger all people that had the virus. And then something happened with something in Melbourne, and it just spread again, so they had to shut it all down again.
Oh, damn. That sucks.
Slowly getting back out. All the businesses are opened up again, the pubs and the shops, and which is good.
I've been hearing bad things.
People are working again.
About the masks, that like we're actually breathing in our own CO2, which should be exhaled, not inhaled again. So I don't know what that's doing to us, if that's damaging us at all. But there's people that have the masks where they've got the little, like some kind of a vent thing, and they say that so the CO2 can go out. I'm not sure how that even works. But. Yeah,
well, even a lot of the packaging for the masks tell you that it does not protect against viruses. I always joke with people, I'm like, man, go put on 3 pairs of pants and fart. If you can smell it, your mask doesn't work.
Yeah, right? That's true.
I feel like it's more of a control, like, trying to get people to, follow direction,
It's not less about protection and more about how you can't spread it. So if you sneeze, you only sneeze into your mask. You're not sneezing out to everyone else.
Right.
But
and then
I think things still get through, though.
Yeah. That's all right, because if you've got it, that's okay. You can.
I don't know about y'all, but when I have to freaking sneeze, I'll pull this shit down because I don't want to sneeze in my own fucking mask. Then the mask is ruined.
Just like angry sneeze in the middle of a store, and you're like, achoo! Watch everybody look at you.
Angry sneeze.
And I'm still not used to this. I do this, man. I don't know. I'm old fashioned. I don't know what this is, but just can't do it.
My poor wife, man, she has to wear it all the time because of the grocery store, you know what I mean? And just, she comes home and she's got sore throats because she's not getting oxygen. And
yeah, me too, all the time. I have bad allergies anyway, so.
Yeah.
And then it seems like when I go back to work after having 2 days off, it's like, can't breathe at all because I'm so used to not having the mask for the 2 days.
Right.
But then you put the mask back on and it's like, I can't breathe. I hate that. Well, guess we're stuck with it for a while.
Right. Hopefully not. I'm praying that Trump wins and everything. I know it's a long shot, but I have faith everything's going to go back to normal, at least in America. I don't know, about the EU or Australia or any of those areas, but we're pretty stubborn over here in the United States. I'm sure Commander could vouch for me on that one. We're a stubborn breed of people. That's why they haven't been able to take our guns yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that'll be a while till it goes back to normal. As we know it.
Wayne talks a lot about Canada, how they just took their guns like overnight or some shit.
Yeah.
Just like,
well, they gave them, I think they gave them a year and a half to officially, like, before they can Gestapo style come in their house and search for guns. But it's a scary thing, man. I mean, if you don't have the ability to defend yourself, then any power it be, whenever they decide, can do whatever they want to you.
I mean, if you don't have guns and they have guns, what do you do?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't currently have a gun, but I'll probably get one eventually. It's just, costs money to get one. Not really though. I guess I could probably get like a little Taurus or something, a little pistol, and $200.
I got my shotgun just for 200 and I think it was $260. Just about 4 months ago, I wanted to get a 12 gauge. So I've got several guns, but this one is a Winchester, and you can get it for under $300.
Okay.
And this is what you want for your home protection. You know what I mean?
I still need to take like a safety class or something before they can sell me anything, right?
No.
No. Really? I could just get that right now?
You can literally walk into Sportsman Warehouse right now, lay $300 on the counter in good old America, and they will hand you a 12-gauge shotgun.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do I want a 12-gauge or a pistol? I think I want a pistol, though.
We use screen doors for protection against all the insects and stuff.
Roundup.
You
don't use a 50 cal machine gun against those insects?
We don't have to worry about guns or anything.
Oh, there's a fly!
Just the insects. And the crocodiles.
Right.
Oh,
I'd want a gun for the crocodile. Shit.
Yeah, if anybody needs guns, it's Australia. Look at the fighters.
All you need is a screen door.
Does that keep the crocodiles out too, or can they get through?
Yeah, the reinforce at the bottom so they can't push it open.
Right. Well, it has gotten weird though. There was, I think it was about 3 years ago, back when Obama was president. There was a guy up close to where I live up here, whose little girl was in the backyard, and a grizzly bear came in and was basically going towards his child, and he ended up. You can look all this stuff up because it actually ended up going to Supreme Court because he shot and killed the grizzly bear because the grizzly bear was going after his child. And then the stupid EPA wanted to imprison him because the grizzly bears are on the endangered species list.
Oh my God.
And it actually went all the way up to the Supreme Court because they were trying to find this guy every day and like all of this stuff. And finally the Supreme Court was like, no, he was protecting.
My opinion, if the endangered species wants to do something stupid, then they can be extinct.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, why do we have these? I don't know why everybody wants such a dangerous animal to coexist with us anyway.
Right.
Like, I mean, if you want them to exist, let's just ship them over to one of those 2,000 islands or 5,000 islands in the Philippines, and they can go live there on those little islands. They can fish, and they'll be just fine.
Exactly. You know? Exactly. Well, it's just they've watched Tarzan too many times. They think that Baloo is actually somebody they can come up and hug. You know, oh, look at the nice little bear. There's a guy in Alaska. Did you ever see the grizzly man? What happened to him in Alaska? This nutcase. He used to go out and actually film him, and actually thought that he became like a part of the pack, right? Yeah. And then one day, the bears got hungry and ate him and his girlfriend.
Jesus.
Like literally, you can go on YouTube and listen to the last few minutes of his life.
That's crazy.
So he did. Yeah. So he did become part of the pack, just in a different way.
He just didn't realize that they were cannibals, and they eat their own kind.
It's like he was giving them names and like, oh, you know, hi, here comes so and so, and this and that. You know, and it just everybody's watching this on A&E, and we're all just waiting. It was like a betting pool. Like, is he dying this week? He's gonna die.
Oh
yeah, it's really sad. He ended up dying. Him and his girlfriend.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm good with a pet dog.
Becoming part of the pack?
No, I have a pet dog, and that's all I need. I don't need a bear. I don't need to become like my dog either. I'm not going to go on all fours. And where is he anyway? Keiko. Is he outside? All this time? Not outside. Okay, I got to go find my dog. I'll be right back. Keiko.
Jeez,
what do you
panic
guys
stations.
What do you do in Australia?
Oh my God.
Like a dangerous
He's
animal.
been so quiet.
Okay. Sorry, mate. I can't hear.
Oh, I was just going to say, what do you do? What do they do in
dog.
Australia? Like if you're in the outback, you know what I mean? And a crocodile or whatever you guys have over there, you guys have everything, it seems like, comes at you. I mean, what do you do? Just climb a tree and try to get away? Or do they let you, they let people in the outback have guns?
Are they quick? Can you run away from them?
The people that own property out in the outback do, to be able to cull their animals and stuff that come onto the land. You have if you've got a permit, that's fine.
Okay.
But just for normal folk, you just stay away from stuff like that. You just don't be stupid. And
Right.
Oh,
common sense.
You get it? Yeah. So we rely on common sense a lot.
Yeah.
You don't go up to the crocodile and spank it on the ass? You don't do anything like that?
Says, no swimming crocodiles. We go, all right, we won't swim.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Oh. Let the tourists swim.
Right. Someday I will, man. Someday I'm going to Australia. It just really fascinates me.
Yeah,
really fascinates me.
What? It's nice and casual.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty laid back.
Ellen is going to sleep. I'm going to go take a quick leak real quick, and I'll tell her good night, and then I'll be right back.
Well, actually, bro, I got to get off if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we can end this thing, yeah. Well, we've got over an hour and 30. Yeah, not bad. Good. Right on. So, yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it, man, and awesome stories. And I don't know what the title will be like.
Nice to meet you, too. It's been awesome, man. Like I said, I wanted to go to Australia. It's good to know somebody that's over there now.
Yeah,
he's just out back.
Come over.
He's out back. I just have so much fun with that. Like, he's just out back. Like, I could literally go out in my backyard. There he is. No, I'm just kidding. Or he's down under, so just gotta go get a shovel.
Down under?
Don't bring up Thailand again, okay? We've already heard that story.
That was a funny story, though. Like, seriously. I'm still trying to think of how that's possible.
I'm going to have nightmares about that dart now.
Alright, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Show. Thank you for coming back. To be on here. Owen. And, Jonathon Kellers. Thank you. And one of these days, we're going to have your wife on to sing for us. I know Ellen wants to sing. Maybe they'll be on a podcast together, and they can sing.
She would love that, bro. She would absolutely love that.
I will be doing a OFW podcast. So if she wants to be part of that, or you both want to be a part of that, that's fine. And then Ellen will be singing on that podcast, so then they can kind of take turns singing too.
My daughter sings, so she might jump on.
There you go.
Right on. Sounds good, man. I'm down with that. Yeah, just let me know if you're in. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate y'all. And everybody, thanks for watching. Smash that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.